Yeah, wouldn't want people to think that we're out of ass. Hey, everybody. It's time for Ace Turning, the great one. The second great one, even. So last we left off, Enoch Drubber blew up the machine. Oh, we're just going straight to court. Yeah, I guess so.
Well, we found it.
24th October, 9/11, never forget, AM. The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. Good morning to you, Mr. Nahadol. Ah, good morning, Professor. Ready for today's proceedings? No. I hope so. I should be. Even I with nothing left. Good morning, my dear fellows. Of course I know, Mulligai. It's all I've been able to think about. Don't be a fucking fool. I live here. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you're here. Why, naturally. A true gentleman stands shoulder to shoulder with his friends in battle at all times. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'll see you later, then. Now, Professor, we really need you to remain calm in the courtroom today.
Yes. Do try your hardest not to enter the witness stand uninvited again, or I'll kill you.
Yes, I will. I realize it was a mistake, but My dear fellows, I must interject. Oh, you're still here, Mr. Sholmes. What's the matter? Surely you've overlooked some praise, have you not? To be cast in my direction, hmm? Sorry, I don't follow. Must I spell it out? I, the great Herlock Sholmes, the greatest detective of worldwide acclamation, arose at some ungodly hour to be here now. First thing in the morning. A miracle, you must agree. Well, if I must agree, then... As you know, my sleep is quite impregnable. Iris had to employ her full gamut of tactics. She pulled the covers off, shook me, poked both cheeks, punched me, and kicked me from the bed. Then she poured a boiling cup of her latest experimental blend on my face, and at last I was bestirred.
Oh my, Iris has been busy.
Iris doesn't have it in her to go that far. She's too nice. I sense the spirit of a fellow scientist, one who relishes in the infinite possibilities of blending tea. I'm the one worthy of praise here, not Iris. This is my victory. I have no fucking idea who this is. Sorry to cut in, says someone. Oh, it's Gregson. What are you doing here? Oh, Inspector Gregson, good morning. Gregson, my dear fellow, why the grim expression at this delightfully early hour?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe because I've been confronted with a grimmer expression, eh?
Dear me, are you going to take that insult lying down, Professor?
In this economy.
What? I don't know! Poor Professor.
We already played Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Ha!
God.
I've only just now remembered that chat exists. Oh, I'm catching up.
No problem. Since one of those days.
No, Mulligan, what could we possibly be awake away from? Tell me, explain.
I had a night last night because I just fucking dropped an entire gallon of milk in the cooler, so that was a fun 30 minutes of mopping.
Wow. Shouldn't have dropped it. It would have been a lot easier.
Yeah, should have been a lot, yeah. I wasn't even done with the milk yet. I was only halfway done, so I had to go... After I was done, I had to wait for like 10 minutes for it to dry before I could go back and finish what I was doing.
Anyway, here's the paperwork you asked for.
I did? What paperwork? I took the liberty of requesting it yesterday. I have a feeling it may prove useful.
You won't believe the hoops I had to jump to read this brought out of the archives. It's a professor's autopsy report.
Ooh, I want to read that.
That mass murderers...
Who killed 5 members of the aristocracy? I thought that was a question for a second.
Who killed 5 members of the aristocracy?
Who could have done
Who
such
could
a
it
thing?
have been? It was Colonel Mustard.
With a pipe. In the observatory.
In the damn observatory. Has he no shame?
He was found guilty in a closed trial 10 years ago now. It was all done under wraps. He was quickly executed soon after the trial. It's all in that.
Killer's autopsy report has been added to the court record. I'm gonna read that before I continue this conversation. Hold on, let me read that rudely really quick. Condemned prisoner, blah 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 blah, redacted for confidentiality. Alright, fuck off. Pseudonym, the professor. Death by hanging, confirmed at midnight, 17th June, Courtney Stevens. The name
I
is
bet that's Courtney Slythe!
Probably. I literally... That's the only useful information in this entire fucking thing. I like to think that that folder literally contains exactly that one piece of paper. And it says that information and nothing else. I don't know what to say. Thank you, Inspector. Yes, much obliged, Gregson.
Us slowly along the yard, just do what we can. In the shadow of the great Detective Sholmes, of course.
I sense some sarcasm. Well then, Professor Hairbrain, this is it. Today we're going to lay all this to rest at last. I don't know, man. It feels like there's a lot left that we don't know.
I wish you the best of luck, Professor.
I suppose he'll be in there too today, will he? Dweber.
Yes, we expect the prosecution to summon him as a witness.
I'm still amazed that you managed to find him in just one day. I really owe you both so much. Not so hard to defend it. Trial's about to resume coming from courtroom. Get in the fucking room, bitches. This is it then, the final chapter. Is it? Funny, my heart's racing a little. I've not felt this before, actually. This strange foreboding. As if something's going to happen in this trial that I'm not ready for. But I can't let that
It's just
distract
this
me.
strange feeling I get, like something's about to happen. Oh my god, Eminem is gonna interrupt the court proceedings.
I'm gonna let you finish.
That was Kanye West.
Yeah, it was. I thought it as I was
Completely
saying
different man.
it. But I can't let that distract me from the only thing that really matters. Finding the truth. (24th October, 9:30 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. That dude is just dropping
Hi,
cards.
Kazuma.
That could be anybody.
I mean, it could be anybody.
I do like that they actually do have the characters that would recognize him immediately, rather than keeping it like a vague secret.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We will resume the public hearing of Albert Hairbrain, here present, who stands accused of murder.
Murder most foul.
Are the counsels for the prosecution and defense ready to proceed?
The prosecution is ready, my lord.
The defense is ready, my lord. As promised, Lord Van Zieks has his apprentice with him. His apprentice with memory loss. And I have my apprentice with me. My apprentice with memory loss.
I don't have memory. What? Comical-sized cooking pan.
Bang!
She's gonna spend the entire court case just staring directly at Kazuma. It's gonna make him wildly uncomfortable if he ever remembers who that is. That's a big if, though.
With our my Lord Vanseeks.
No,
You may not.
you may not.
Continue.
Yes, my lord.
There appears to be someone standing at your side.
I'm.
Oh,
Yeah, I
yes.
knew that.
Yeah, well, wow, what amazing eyeballs you have there. My apprentice and assistant. The prosecution believes today's proceedings will see the complexity of this case rise considerably.
I believe he's correct.
Nice.
All right.
Good job. That's not exactly how you saber a bottle, but I'm willing to look past it. I liked the comical cork noise. See, when you actually saber a bottle, it just breaks it, you know?
Yeah.
It just breaks the top of the bottle off.
You break it. Yep. No, Kazuma's so good with the sword, it just pops. He pops it off. What you didn't see in that half second is that he wedges it into the cork and then pops it slightly, and then continues his swing. All in a fraction of an instant.
I therefore instructed my assistant to attend to ensure the smooth running of the trial.
And the smooth running of liquid refreshments, by the look of it.
How are those Pop-Tarts tonight, Steven?
It's hot dogs and curly fries.
Oh,
So
it's
have
hot
you
dogs
know?
this time? Oh, it's hot dogs this time? You have so much time up until... You know what? It's fine.
I do not
The way he
decide when
hold-
the girlfriend makes dinner.
Yeah, but you can... Okay, you know what? I'm gonna leave it there. You don't... It's fine.
Fair enough.
The way he holds himself, the way he moves... It couldn't be anyone else.
But he's still suffering from amnesia, so there's really nothing we can do at the moment.
I know, but... Oh, this is so very hard.
It would appear that the prosecutor has done a fine job in responding to the demands that the court made yesterday. I understand you have successfully secured the engineer who disappeared from the scene on the day in question.
Yes, the prosecution did that.
Yes, I'm taking all the credit. I intend to call him as a witness shortly.
Very good, very good. Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, who have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people of the courtroom today, are you ready and willing to proceed?
Of course, my lord. I'm sure we all understand the importance of doing our civic duty.
I do so despise deception and deceit. I find it so very wearing. To take a man's life with a conjuring trick. It is against the magician's code, not to mention the law. Is
I
it?
thought the magician's code was just not to reveal the tricks. There's a thing in there about using magic to kill people? I gotta
Just-
read this
It's a
code.
very specific bylaw.
They had to commune a council of magicians to pass that one. They're like, it's not technically against the rules yet. We should,
We should get on that before it happens.
Any fixed scientist should feel the wrath of God, if you ask me.
I think I was the corn cob girl, right?
You were the corn child, yes. I don't remember what you were
Set on
doing.
both sides of the fence and settle on one. That's it, isn't it?
That sounds right.
Wasn't like this in my day. Wasn't like this at all.
Thank you, old
We
man.
would just shoot people.
Actually, in his day, they probably didn't have guns.
We would just stab
We
people.
would throw rocks at people.
I would throw a big rock. We would hang people by the balls until dead. If all parties are ready to proceed, you may
They
begin,
threw
Lord
beans at
Fanseeks.
him.
Dude, getting pelted by beans would probably hurt. Before I do, my lord, there's the report I must read to the court. Thanks. Good teamwork, guys. That's how the dream works. Yesterday, at the Grand Exhibition Grounds, the evidence of primary importance in this case blew the fuck up The super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine, which was installed at the experimentation stage, this is a long scroll, was deliberately destroyed by an explosion affected by an unknown person or persons. It was. What? Holy shit, I forgot he has a gun. Yeah, his trigger discipline's awful. It's so bad. He's even got the hammer cocked, I think. It's crazy. Dude is actively ready to, like, about to fire. What's he doing? An explosion?
This is an outrage.
You like how the people that have jobs walk around with, like, a comical amount of their jobs, like, on them? Like, the science guy has, like, 8 different test tubes and flasks and shit. The magician one's believable. I mean, magicians are just like that.
Magician shit.
Magicians would walk around doing magician tricks just because they can.
If I were a magician, I'd do that. I'd just keep cards.
I would too.
Like several decks of cards on me for different tricks.
Yeah, we all would. All of us. Anyone that says they wouldn't is a big liar.
Yes, I heard this grave news yesterday. Scotland Yard made a report to my office in the evening. I heard that machine was blasted to smithers, and the wreckage reduced to ashes in the flames.
To ashes?
To
Wasn't it mostly metal? What the hell do you use? Jet fuel?
I think, if I remember right, they said at some point that it's basically just a metal facade on top of some bullshit.
Yeah, it's not
wood, but the metal would still be there.
You would feel like to ashes crazy. Like if they're like, yeah, melted into a pool. I'm like, okay, that's still real hot, but
to shreds, you say?
And his wife. To shreds, you say? Terrible news about my, colleague, Dr. Mbatu. Was his apartment rent controlled? I love Futurama. What a show. I have here a photographic print of the scene taken in the wake of the explosion.
Hole.
It's a hole. In fact, blowing this up just made the hole more obvious. It shows what little remains of the machine.
Yeah, if they were planning to hide the hole, I don't know how blowing it up accomplishes that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that guy just likes explosions. Also, this is not... I mean, this is to smithers, but this is not to ashes.
This is not to ashes.
This is not like, oh, there's nothing left. This is like, there's still a lot left, though.
Yes, a terrible business. A day that shall live on in infamy.
Did it to destroy the evidence, did he?
What evidence got destroyed?
I'm not sure.
That Enoch Drebber.
The court will take this print as evidence, counsel.
The post-explosion photograph has been entered in the court record.
Sorry, it's funny because I'm 12. Post-explosion photograph. Late yesterday afternoon, the protection afforded to the machine by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act was revoked. However, before a thorough investigation could begin, the invention was obliterated from existence. Again, like the verbiage they're using is crazy.
I think he's exaggerating a little bit.
Obliterated from existence? As such, this will become a very different trial.
Excuse me? What do you mean?
I'm putting you on blast. As it stands now, with no evidence on which to draw, meaning, where did the other guy go? Oh no, he's still there.
He's still there.
I thought he disappeared for a second. Yeah. Well, he like fades into like the silhouettes in the background.
Yeah.
In this shot. It took me a second. I was like, he's fucking gone. He was a ghost.
Oh.
The authenticity of the kinesis machine will remain forever in obscurity.
No, we know it didn't work, man.
Indeed. A most unfortunate state of affairs. There's simply no way to prove what happened now.
The machine blew up. We can't prove for certain. It is like me doing an experiment to prove the Earth is flat, and then eating the evidence and saying you can't prove it. You can't prove it wrong, idiot. it might have worked. You'll never know. Like Fred Jones, you'll never know.
Just don't know.
We'll never know. However, one thing remains clear. The victim's death was the result of the actions of the accused. Of that we can be certain. For it was the accused himself who was operating the machine, and who ultimately caused its loss of control.
Objection. As Lord Van Zeeks rightly says, this is a very different trial now.
Blah!
The accused accepts responsibility for his part in the events that had transpired. He acknowledges that Mr. Assman died as the result of an accident caused by his machine's malfunction. However, unbeknownst to the professor, he was being deliberately deceived by a pair of very clever fraudsters.
Names, counsel, if you please.
The engineer, Mr. Enoch Drebber, and the victim himself, Mr. Odie Assman. So what exactly were these two men up to behind the defendant's back? The defense intends to expose that information, thus establishing the unequivocal innocence of the defendant. Damn, that's the most confident thing he's ever said.
Also the most coherent, really.
Thank you, counsels. The position of the prosecution and the defense have been clearly stated. Lord Van Zeeks, summon your first witness.
Summon your first witness, please.
Someone first.
I've briefly forgotten how to speak the Queen's own tongue.
At once, my lord. The prosecution calls the engineer, Mr. Enoch Drebber, to the stand.
Finally, a witness
Beep,
that isn't
boop.
me.
Enjoy.
I can take as many drinks as I want.
You can raw dog those dogs, dude.
Oh, those are gone already.
Oh, damn. Already got slurped right up.
Yeah,
I wonder if
I'm a
there's
bit
more
of a
hot
throat
dog.
goat.
Nice. Congrats. I hear that puts you in leagues with Joe Biden and Obama, so.
I'm in good company. As far as slurping glizzies go.
As far as gulping glizzies down. I wonder if there was ever any additional. Did you hear about that like fucking hot dog drama like a year ago or some shit?
How Joey Chestnut got banned from competition or something.
He got banned because it turns out that one big hot dog eating competition is specifically like a hot dog company runs it, and they got mad that he partnered with like Beyond Meat to do like a meatless hot dog
thing,
something or something, and they're like, nah, we're gonna ban you. It was so petty. It's crazy. Is there no integrity in the world of gulping dogs, dude? I don't know. I thought we lived in America.
Imagine
State your
banning
name.
Joey Chestnut, the only hot dog eating man whose name I know.
There was a guy named Kobayashi, I think, right?
Oh, that sounds right.
Those are the only two I know. Which is, probably how it's always going to be. I can't imagine a third hot dog man will break, or woman, or other, will break into, a third hot dog person will break into
Third hot
public
dog
consciousness,
freak.
right? Third hot dog freak, yeah. Like, surely it's got to be two, right? Like, there's limits to these things. State your name and occupation for the court. Name, Enoch Drebber. Occupation, weird little guy. Hard to pin down, I would say.
He's a
Yes,
black
I
monocle.
feel the same as before.
They're so old, you two. I am so old.
Corn.
Your file indicates that you are currently being investigated in connection with another case. The theft of a waxwork model, is it? Most extraordinary sounding business.
But that has no bearing on this trial, I assure you. Leave it from your mind.
I fucking very much doubt that.
It has nothing to do with anything, you bitch. You're familiar with the public experiment carried out at the Great Exhibition some days ago. The accused super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. Demonstration. Yes, you could say that I was aware of it.
The fucking thing.
There was a terrible accident, wasn't there? It was you, Mr. Trevor, who constructed the vast machine used in the experiment. Or so our investigations indicate. Can you confirm your involvement? Yes, I constructed it in precise accordance with the blueprints, but that's all.
We look at the blueprints and there was a bomb in there the whole time, and we go, huh. Weird.
And everyone was like, I won't let anyone take my shit! Not in this life or the next! Then the court would be very interested to hear your thoughts about the machine, I'm sure. What the fuck, man?
He's
This
got some
fucking guy, dude.
movements.
An amazing device, if you ask me. The pinnacle of modern science. Making instantaneous kinesis a reality at last.
What?
Good gracious! Do you mean to say that the experiment was bona fide? Is that your belief, sir?
Yes, that is very much my belief. Such a waste that it blew up.
Now, he admitted in front of cops that there was another bomb, and then an hour later we heard about an explosion. Like,
He could've been
surely they're
talking
able
about
to
any
connect
bomb.
those dots, right? Objection!
He should have been talking about any bomb.
But we've already established the machine was nothing more than a prop for an elaborate conjuring trick.
Objection!
You have established nothing of the sort.
Excuse me?
All that was shown during yesterday's proceedings is that the same outcome could have been produced by means of staged trickery. The defense merely proposed a method and demonstrated its feasibility, nothing more.
But come on.
We've procrastinated long enough, I feel. Witness, you will now give your formal testimony about the machine that you constructed for the purpose of the demonstration at the Great Exhibition.
Understood.
Weird clicky clacky hand is really cool.
Yeah, gears are fun, aren't they?
Yeah, I like gears. Steampunk is a good aesthetic. The kinesis machine.
I think there needs to be more, like, steampunk aesthetic, but instead of fucking boring-ass copper and brass, it's those big, colorful gears that were, like, children's toys at, like, the dentist's office or whatever. You ever had one of those? Where it's just, like, big old, colorful cogs of plastic?
Kindergarten steampunk.
I'm gonna pioneer that somehow. I don't know how. I don't know through what medium. But when you see hyper colorful plastic-based cogs, you'll know it was me, baby.
I'll know it was you.
I met the young professor approximately 1 year ago through Mr. Assman's introduction.
Yeah.
He provided me with the blueprints and I constructed the machine to his precise specifications. It was no trick. I don't like when he smiles like that. It really spooks me. I don't like it.
It's a very scary
Makes me-
expression.
It makes me uncomfortable. If the whole show was a fraud, it would have required a body double. Okay, well, you shouldn't tell us that, man.
Right.
We're already... You shouldn't offer that. What an idiot. Tell me, did the victim have a twin?
This is a very good pose, though.
Sure. I just don't like the smile, man. It
It's really
scares me.
scary, man.
It's very scary. All the spectators saw the birdcage appear above their heads and then crash headfirst into the crystal tower. A terrible accident, I grant you. Perhaps the science on which the machine was built was flawed somehow.
A body double?
That goes without saying, surely. To give the impression that something has moved when in reality it hasn't. It's a basic conjuring principle. The deception cannot be achieved without substituting the original with a fake at some point in the performance. But I would be right in saying you haven't managed to establish anything along those lines. Incidentally, the prosecution has already confirmed that Mr. Aspen had no twin siblings.
In my understanding, that this witness is well versed in conjuring artfulness. Such terms do not indicate that he was actually able to accomplish what he claims. Namely, the construction of what, by all accounts, must have been an extremely complex scientific machine.
Whatever do you mean?
Yesterday's proceedings brought the true nature of your past exploits to light, Mr. Griffin.
Indeed it did, my lord. As a swindler who preys on innocent scientists to elicit government grant money through the conjuring know-how.
Yes, it's true. I possess considerable knowledge of stage magic. Me when I'm filling out my dating profile. No, I wish I was cool enough to know stage magic. That shit was awesome back in the day. You know, that's the big downside to internet videos. Nowadays, so many magicians are just really good video editors. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool, man. But I want to see you do funky shit, you know?
Like in front of my eyes. Make me question my reality.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, I love a good,
like Portal video or whatever.
Yeah.
Or those
I love
people that pull
a
things
good
out of
video
mirrors.
Yeah. It's excellent stuff, but it's not, it don't hit the same
That's true.
as David Blaine being like, look at this orange. There's a card in this bastard. But crucially, my scientific knowledge more than matches that of any academic in the field. Investigation of the witness's workshop attests to that claim, my lord. We looked around and said, that's some crazy shit. As evidence, the police found this a Royal Society trophy for young talent in science there. Yes, it's true. We spotted it in there ourselves. If a hypothesis is sound, it can always be forged into a physical manifestation with sufficient skill. Though I may have sold the secrets of some deceptive wiles to sniveling talentless scientists in the past.
Harsh.
What do you therefore assert that the explosion of the machine was?
An unfortunate accident, or, of course, a deliberate act of murder carried out by misuse of science.
Counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, please.
Yes, my lord. Alright, let's do some pressing to get more information. Hold it! So you were already acquainted with Mr. Assman himself?
Not really. By chance, I'd seen his name mentioned in the papers, that's all. but I had no interest in his private affairs. If he was an unscrupulous investor, it was no concern of mine. As long as people pay their bills, I take up my tools and construct what they ask for.
So why did Mr. Assman approach you in particular then?
Who can say? I presume because my name is associated with excellence in engineering.
Not to mention excellence in fraud.
Hard to gauge, but the point is, all I did was construct the machine according to the blueprints I was given. In other words, please be true. No, in other words, the kinesis machine was built on solid scientific principles. Yes, you might say that. Professor Hairbrain certainly has a mind like no other.
That's not a compliment.
It sure isn't.
Do we have the blueprints? I can't remember.
We pulled charred scraps of something out, didn't we?
Yeah,
I'm like from the fireplace. Did we get that, or did Shelms just keep it?
I think he just kept. It seems like he just kept it.
Damn it, Shelms! Give us the blueprints, man. What are you doing?
Well, maybe this will reveal the blueprints if we press it. It's clear that you have both scientific knowledge and knowledge of conjuring magic, however.
The more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to handle whatever comes along. But your implication is that I furnished the machine with some trickery, I think.
And a bomb. It's a possibility that we have to explore.
Unfortunately, though, the machine was blown to Kingdom Come. So there's really nothing left to explore, is there? It appears that the kinesis machine was fitted with a timed explosive device of some kind. And there's nothing left of that device either. Not a single shred of evidence remaining, I hear.
He must have planned all this from the outset.
But in any case, it's abundantly clear that the experiment couldn't have been a trick.
Is it? Oh, show was a fraud. It would have required a body double.
Hold it!
Hold it. Of course, that's it. Mr. Assman was a twin. Ryunosuke. Pay attention.
Perhaps my learned friend wasn't listening earlier. Mr. Assman had no twin sibling.
No, I heard you before, but the thread of hope hadn't quite left me.
The demonstration could have been a trick if there was someone who looked sufficiently like the victim. But Dr. Scythe absolutely ruled that out as a possibility. It is beyond question that the victim himself, Mr. Assman, did move from the stage to the Crystal Tower. The fingerprints found at the scene attest to that fact. So it can't have been orchestrated using someone who looked identical to Mr. Assman then. What are you thinking, Mr. Nahado?
Oh, no, nothing. Just that the idea of someone who looked identical to the victim is playing on my mind. Because we don't have, like, the wax dummy itself as evidence, I don't think.
We sure don't. We
only have the head.
Which we cannot open.
And we have this piece of broken glass that was found at the Crystal Tower.
Well, it's from the Crystal Tower. It was found in the waxworks clothes.
Oh, right, yes. Okay, so this is... Cause I was trying to look
That's
when
him.
we saw him.
Stabbed.
Yeah, this is the real one. I was trying to remember
So-
if the guy in the thing looked
It was
kinda
clearly
like him.
something where it was like they had the balloon up there with a second bird cage and the waxwork in there. They shot that, it dropped the waxwork into the Crystal Tower, and during that, he descended and entered the Crystal Tower through some secret tunnel shit or something.
Yeah.
And then, like, stashed the waxwork Then someone stabbed him.
And then I assume Enoch Drabber stabbed him in the chest. Alright, so we did that.
Hold it!
Hold it. It crashed head first, you say?
According to the many witness reports from those there at the time, yes.
Were you not there at the exhibition grounds on the day?
Unlikely. I rarely leave my workshop.
Yet another of your unique inventions was found at the scene.
Well, it was the unveiling of a machine I'd labored over for many months. I saw it clearly with my own eyes, the birdcage plummeting headfirst into the tower.
What a surprise.
I believe the victim's neck was broken from the headlong fall, wasn't it?
How would you have come by that information?
Even an infernal recluse like me reads the newspapers, you know. According to the reports, 2 injuries were apparent on the victim's body.
Yes, he'd been stabbed in the chest by a screwdriver believed to belong to the defendant, and he had broken vertebra as a result of the fall from a considerable height.
Correct! My learned friend has been doing his research, it seems.
Do we know which injury was the fatal one?
Sadly not. Forensic science is not yet at the level where such things can be determined. But in the future, a goth woman with big boots will do it easily.
True, it's true.
What we do know,
hands will have.
it will be great. I will watch every episode of NCIS. What we do know is that the victim died having sustained both injuries at some point during the experiment. And since he was found in the birdcage with his neck broken, it's obvious that he fell from a considerable height.
I suppose that's hard to deny. Terrible accident on ground parts of science in the
Hold it!
Hold it. So you understood the science, did you?
Not in the slightest.
It's alright. Oh, right.
As I've said a number of times, I'm an engineer. My job is to manufacture according to the blueprints I'm given. I would be inventing manifold problems if I foolishly allowed my brain to digest the ideas behind them.
What?
Inviting manifold problems. I would be accused of stealing those ideas, for example.
Oh, okay, I guess. But how is it possible to construct a machine without really understanding the principles it relies on?
Well, you're practicing law without really understanding
Wow.
the principles it relies on, aren't you?
Wow. A very good point. Don't give him credit for that.
Stand up for yourself, Mr. Narhado. The point is, the experiment resulted in instantaneous kinesis taking place. As such, the science must be sound. Yes, and really, experimental results are all that matters when it comes to proving a hypothesis.
Well, certainly very sure of himself. I'm okay.
What do you think? You good?
Yeah, yeah.
You alright?
Yep.
Yeah? Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Good, good, good. What do you think, Mr. Narhado?
Well, now that the machine has been completely destroyed by yesterday's explosion, it's going to be impossible to argue its authenticity one way or the other.
But if we're unable to establish that it was a piece of stage trickery rather than genuine science, we will have no grounds on which to demonstrate Professor Hairbrain's innocence.
Both Mr. Assman and this man on the stand tricked the professor and used him.
Ass man and this man.
They took advantages of his naivete and his unbending belief in his work, and I won't let them get away with it. And seeing as the professor is an old friend of Lord Van Zeek's, what on earth must he be feeling towards Drebber? Alright, well,
That
we've
guy's
pressed
a
everything.
freak.
We have
Look how
pressed
wibbly
everything
wobbly he is.
and not gained any further information, so we do have to present something.
We do have to present something.
Can we?
I wonder
We
what-
haven't. Can we examine this? I know they said they
Yes.
couldn't break the lock on it, but what if we could? Wouldn't that be
What
something?
do, I don't see a lock at all. Oh, there it is.
There's a key.
Click on it.
This lock does look very strong, doesn't it? There's definitely no way you could remove the mask yourself if it was put on you.
What a terrible way to treat someone, even a convicted criminal.
I know. It's starting to make me feel livid, actually.
Mr. Naruto, please.
I mean, just think about it. Imagine if you had an itch on your cheek all of a sudden. You'd be utterly helpless.
Well, yes, that's true. I'm not sure that warrants quite so much anger.
Oh, right. Sorry. I get worked up over stupid shit. It's my character trait. Like a little latch here. There's really nothing else to click on this thing.
There's nothing else, yeah. So we definitely can't use this yet, I don't think.
No, I don't think this is anything. Did the victim have a twin? Require a body double? I don't know what other... Because this also doesn't... This doesn't tell us anything.
That's nothing.
This doesn't tell us... I mean, it tells us there was a hole, but that doesn't tell us there's a body double.
I also don't think we're at the body double yet, are we?
No.
I think we might need to backtrack a little.
I can provide him with blue sticks so I construct the machine to his precise specifications. It was no trick. I don't know if we can disprove that with anything we have.
What do we have again?
Well, let's go through it. We've got quite a bit at this point. We've got the experiment sketch. I don't think that's helpful. Crossbow, piece of green cloth,
no,
photo of victim,
no.
autopsy report, broken vertebra from sharp implement. Yeah. We've got the screwdriver.
Screwdriver.
Photo of balloon. So this does show, like, there's someone on the stage while this arrow is being followed. But, like, it's impossible to make out detail from this picture, so it's hard to say. He is standing a little weird. We've looked at this and just went, yep, it's... Oh, wait a minute. He fell head first. No, he didn't.
Yeah, the bottom was broken. There we go.
Okay, there it is.
I was gonna say, there was no damage to the head area of the birdcage. The bottom was broken because it dropped the trap door suddenly. Right?
Objection. I think you're
There
right,
it
yeah.
is.
We've examined the birdcage that crashed into the crystal tower ourselves.
I knew we'd find it if we looked at all of the stuff.
Yeah. As you
Yeah.
can see, the cage, which is a wooden construction, has sustained damage in one particular spot.
Following the explosion, it fell some 30 feet into the glass of the crystal tower. That level of damage is to be expected, surely.
I agree. The damage itself is entirely understandable. What doesn't make sense is the location of that damage.
Meh.
He just beeps. Boop.
Beep.
All of the breakages in the wood are at the base of the birdcage, not the top. I've got some shit in my
What
throat.
are
It's
you
killing
saying?
me.
Eat some milk.
That's the opposite of where they should be.
Thanks, Judge.
Thanks, Judge.
Thanks, man.
That's right, my
I'm
lord.
glad you're here.
The birdcage that was at
Dude,
the
you're
scene
really
is
dying
damaged
tonight,
in
huh?
space. Yeah, I can't get it out, man. So we have reports of the birdcage falling headlong into the crystal tower, yet the damage is at the bottom. The only way to reconcile these two facts is to accept that there were two bird cages in play that day, which were at some point switched.
Yep.
Switched
cool.
during what wasn't a scientific experiment at all, but an elaborate piece of stage trickery.
Gah.
I can't wait to
There it
see
is.
this dude's breakdown. It's gonna be
Right?
crazy.
It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be nuts. But yeah. Now I was thinking when we looked at that birdcage initially, because they kept talking about it crashing head first. I'm like, but there's like no damage to that part, was there? To the head part?
Was not. I couldn't remember
There
because
was
it's been a
none.
couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't fully remember until we looked at it again. But I knew it was something up. Something was up. Something awesome, huh?
You're so smart.
Good gracious, explain yourself, witness.
Well, if we examine the facts, there's only one logical conclusion we can draw. The damage on the base of the birdcage clearly indicates that it crashed tail first into the tower.
Objection.
But you said multiple witnesses.
But multiple witness reports claim it fell headfirst.
The birdcage materialized in the sky next to a balloon flying over stage, following the spontaneous explosion. And now at an altitude of some 60 feet off the ground, which is approximately 18 meters.
Thanks. Just in case
It
you
then
needed that.
It then proceeded to fall some 30 feet into the crystal tower in the ensuing deflagration.
Which is approximately 9 meters.
Thank you, Cesar. Witness reports amid such chaos are notoriously unreliable.
I mean, that's true.
Objection.
Objection. But the victim's neck was broken.
Objection.
Yeah, and?
You shut up. He plummeted 30 feet inside a heavy wooden cage. However he fell, it would be unsurprising to find one or two of his vertebrae crushed. Dubstep. A riveting. Wait, I started going vampire. A riveting scientific analysis of events from the prosecution there. Though to be even more rigorous, you would have to say it was only one vertebrae, actually.
What? He wasn't quiet for long.
I find it hard to see what's motivating Lord Vansees. This witness is clearly a swindler, and one who deceived a personal friend of his.
If you're going to establish this deception, do it right.
Sorry?
I feel like that's the undertone here.
Yes. And there's one more point. The defense appears to have forgotten. It obviously wasn't a trick, as a certain truth very plainly demonstrates.
What?
It seems to me that the cross-examination had better continue until we resolve this matter. Mr. Drebber, you will amend your testimony with details of this truth.
Of course, we must treat the matter scientifically, after all.
Ah, I nearly had him there. His neck movements are killing me.
I'm just gonna,
It's clear it took place.
The
'cause there's-
kinesis clearly took place because there's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from. Not true. Show the big pit. Well, we should press on it first, I think.
Yeah, and
probably.
then we show the big.
Hold it.
Hold
And
it.
then we show the big pit.
What do you mean?
Well, before the demonstration began, the victim was alive on stage in front of the audience.
Yes, there are lots of witnesses who saw Mr. Assman on the experimentation stage. That's true.
And the victim's neck broke as a result of an impact following a fall. Logically, therefore, the victim must have fallen from somewhere. The balloon that exploded was at an altitude of 60 feet. The point of impact on the tower was 30 feet up. The difference of 30 feet is therefore the total distance the birdcage fell. And there's no other location from which the birdcage could have fallen that distance if it didn't drop out of the sky. Ergo, you killed Ergo. And remember that? Remember that in
Yeah, of course I remember that.
memories. The victim himself must have been beamed from the stage into the sky above the crystal tower.
A trenchant scientific analysis. Dear me, every time I hear it explained, it sounds increasingly plausible.
Oh yes, me listening to Concave Earth. It's all very well thought out. Certainly all the spectators on the day saw it. The birdcage plummeting 30 feet through the air, I mean.
Irritatingly, yes.
And now we go, but big hole.
But there's a big hole. But you've
there's a hole?
you've neglected to observe big hole. The music hasn't stopped. This must be wrong. Well.
Huh.
Wow.
On
Wow.
your return journey.
On your return journey to Japan,
I wouldn't be back to give the court an answer for about 4 months, though.
rest assured, we should be happy to carry proceedings forward in your absence, Counsel.
Damn, he sounds serious. I have to prove my worth before he really does send me back home. I think that's the meanest one the judge has ever done.
Yeah, that was kind of cruel. I didn't even realize it was a new one till halfway through. Well, so do we show this? Because this shows the 30 feet, right?
Yeah, he could. Oh yeah, because
he fell through the
shit
stage.
was high up in the air. Yeah. I think so, because I don't think we have anything else that
must
shows
be the
stage,
only thing.
really. Yeah. Huh? Hey, there we go.
Okay, cool. So we had the right idea, we just didn't.
Wrong
They
thing.
wanted us.
We're too far.
They
we're
wanted to
too
show
far
this
ahead.
instead of the hole. Yeah.
We'll probably show the hole during this. This is a diagram of the.
Will we?
Maybe. If everybody gives me $70. This is a diagram of the
70.
experimentation stage and its surroundings. We know that somehow the birdcage appeared in the midair before falling down into the crystal tower. A fall of about 30 feet, or 9 meters. They're really insistent. However, if you examine the diagram carefully, you'll see that there is one other possible location from which the birdcage could have fallen.
The stage
The
itself.
same distance of 30 feet.
Or 9 meters. No. I love how he instantly got into that stance. No.
Manzeeks has a lot of good poses. I like that one, and of course the boot is so good. He hasn't done the boot the whole game.
He hasn't done the boot. Yeah, I know. It's pretty crazy, isn't it?
The restraint.
Well, it appears the defense has a possible explanation to put forward. Go ahead, Counsel.
Make my day. Yes, my lord, of course.
You will indicate the place to which you are referring on this same diagram.
The stage.
The alternative case in which the birdcage will possibly fall the requisite 30 feet.
It's the stage, baby.
The place I'm referring to is here.
But that's where the birdcage would have been to begin with.
Which is exactly the point, my lord. Yes, the
It's
birdcage
just like
was
the
in the machine
Prestige.
on the stage. What we must also consider is the height of the stage itself.
Go on, Counsel.
It turns out that the experimentation stage was built at a considerable height above ground level. If you look at the diagram in fact, you'll see it's at about the same height above the ground as the balloon was above the crash site. When the experiment got underway, the machine and the birdcage were engulfed in steam. Steam from the steamed hams.
So Steam from the
perhaps.
I was gonna say the exact same shit.
Same brain. What can we say? At that moment, the floor of the stage gave way, and if we assumed there was to be a void underneath, this birdcage and the one seen by the audience would have fallen almost exactly the same distance.
One of these times I want to cut into like an unrelated person. It just
Just
cuts
someone.
to Gregson
He's like,
midway
"Ugh."
through his
And
chips.
he looks surprised at the screen, like, what? Why's the camera over here?
Gregson. Excuse me?
Once again, my lord, this is all points to the fact that there was not one birdcage, but two.
Objection!
My learned friend has no evidence that the stage had such a contrivance in its design. Definitely not a print I gave you 5 minutes ago.
Someone is responsible for the criminal destruction of the kinesis machine itself, it's true. However, the stage still stands. And take a moment to look at the photographic print of the scene following yesterday's explosion.
Every time I do, it makes me...
Something very
What
long
rhymes
that
with
ends with
print?
ocean.
Good lord, the metal grill that formed the floor of the machine is undone.
Yes, most likely blown open by the force of the explosion that destroyed the rest of the machine. The defense calls for the space below the stage to be investigated immediately. Mr. Drebber,
Meep.
it was you who built the kinesis machine, which means it was you who built the 2 bird cages that were used to carry out this deception.
Uh,
I love it when his head jerks back and forth like, nyeh.
Meep.
Whether Professor Hairbrain's hypothesis is sound or not makes no difference, because it's the construction of this machine that matters. A machine designed to take Mr. Assman's life. And lay the blame firmly at the professor's door, something that could only have been carried out by you, Mr. Enoch Drebber. Whoa.
Objection!
He's so wiggly.
He's down with the sickness. I recorked the bottle. If my learned
Don't
friend
worry
has
about it.
reached the end of his wild assertion, the prosecution would like to crush the defense's argument slowly but surely.
What?
Like balls in a vice, your argument fails to hold water. On 2 counts.
2? So I like how
Firstly.
he's surprised. Like, 1 I could have understood.
But 2?
This is getting out of hand.
Before and after the experiment, the witness went nowhere near the kinesis machine. Every relevant member of staff from the exhibition has attested to that.
I believe members of Scotland Yard have also been on watch duty at every public experiment.
In other words, Mr. Drebber had no opportunity to switch the alleged pair of bird cages.
Objection.
If he was
But
under
I've already
statute,
explained why he wouldn't have needed to.
the nonsense with the crossbow. That doesn't bolster your case at all. The man who disappeared from the stage and the man who crashed into the tower are one and the same. The forensic investigation team's report is unequivocal on that point.
Ah,
Actually, it's just the man found in the tower, really.
yeah.
And the second flaw in your assertion is a distinct lack of motive. Why would this man have wanted to take the victim's life? He had no reason to do so.
Ah, a motive. Do I have to think of everything myself? Yes.
Actually, usually you don't need a motive most of the time. It helps a lot. I have here a contract provided by the witness.
What contract is this, Lord Radleaks?
The contract into which Mr. Drebber entered with the victim, Mr. Assman. It reads, Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all remunerations from government grants or other income.
30%? Certainly very favorable contractual condition.
But there was one very important provision bolted onto that clause.
What provision?
Mr. Drebber may only uphold this right on condition that both contracting parties are alive.
What a weird thing to put on there.
In other words, if either of us were to die, the contract would become null and void. So you see, I had nothing to gain from Mr. Assman's death. The diametric opposite, in fact. Need I say more? Need I say more? What the hell was that? Oh, Skittles. Skittles. Alright, there we go. Track down that one. The witness had neither an opportunity nor a reason to commit the alleged crime.
Sometimes a reference just wells up from your brain and you have to track it down.
Yeah. Every several months, my brain says one of the lines from the many Skittles commercials from Nathan Barnett, the man famous for being a dad and dancing with no bones.
Yep. And going
In
fucking
short.
crazy at YouTube boxing.
Oh yeah, he did do that. Didn't he do really well?
Yeah, he did very well, I think, both times, and I'm pretty sure he's doing it again this year.
Fuck yeah. That's the power of Skittles, baby. In short, the possibility of Mr. Drebber having done as you suggest is nil.
Wah! Wah!
Look at his dumb little pose.
It seems the defense's assertion was somewhat wide of the mark. Lord Ramsey, you submit the contract as evidence, please.
Drebber's contract has been entered into the court record.
Well, we gotta take a look at that.
Yep, sure do. Fund labor and materials for the construction of the super high voltage machine. Asthma. Out for 30%, only upheld this right on condition both parties are alive. Again, what a weird thing to put on your contract. Like, if either of them were dead, then yeah, I guess... Like, I feel like that would have been automatic that it failed, huh?
No. That's how estates work. Your estate can oftentimes inherit
Ah, I see.
into the same position. Like if I die having owed someone $30, I still owe them the dollars.
It's true. If Drebber had no opportunity to switch the birdcage under the stage with the one in the Crystal Tower, he couldn't have done it. And in any case, I have no idea what his motive might have been.
There's one aspect of your argument that still holds true, however.
Huh?
There were 2 bird cages. The prosecution is unable to deny that.
Ah.
So I'm sure you're on the right lines, Mr. Naruto. And I have no doubt there are other aspects of your assertion that are undeniable truths too.
Well, it would seem that the defense has no rejoinder to offer.
Grr, 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 grr. Well, I must say I'm a little surprised. I came here to testify about the machine I built, and instead my reputation is defiled. But the prosecution's counter has set the record straight, I think. It's impossible that I'm the culprit.
Objection. No. At the beginning of this trial, we believed that there was only one birdcage, yet now we know there must have been 2. In other words, there was more to the demonstration than we realized at first. I think it's abundantly clear that the same applies to the culprit.
Get to the point.
The stage demonstration was constructed and set up in its entirety by you, Mr. Drebber. Therefore, it's inconceivable that you had no hand in the events that transpired. This is such a frown, holy shit.
I'm real mad.
I've remembered something annoying that happened to me 10 years ago. So if circumstances means it's impossible that you could have carried out the crime yourself, it points to the fact that someone else was involved.
Someone else? Counsel, are you suggesting?
Yes, my lord. Mr. Drebber had an accomplice.
Objection!
An accomplice now. Well, then, I presume you're prepared for what's to come. Now that you're accusing not only this witness, but someone else, of the most serious of crimes. If these accusations turn out to be false, then make no mistake. The prosecution will demand an equally serious punishment for your slander.
Well, counsel, do you intend to pursue this course and formally accuse another party of involvement in this matter?
What do I do here? At the moment, this is a little more of a hunch on my part. I don't know for sure if Drebber had an accomplice, or even if he really is the culprit here. One way or another, though, I have to make my position clear, as a lawyer. So what's my stance going to be? Did Drebber have an accomplice, or not? Well, I think
Name the accomplice.
I think Assman was the accomplice. I don't think he thought he was gonna die. Because I'm pretty sure he just physically ran to the Crystal Tower once the shit started, and then when he got to the place he was supposed to be, he was murdered.
But the only problem with that is if his neck was broken in the fall, because it does look like he dropped unaided 30 feet.
Right.
So,
maybe he wasn't supposed to die from the drop, and he did?
yeah, but, like, they would have built something to stop him from just dropping uncontested, right?
Yeah. The defense is ready
So
to name
maybe
Mr. Drebber's accomplice.
So, I mean, I think, my understanding is he must have died as soon as he dropped.
Right. Somehow the two bird cages must have been switched. Everything points to that. Yet according to the coroner's report, that's not a possibility. But that inconsistency itself is a clue.
Counsel,
My lord?
you have received a stark warning already. If you are nevertheless determined, then I must ask how you to identify this alleged accomplice by name. So, your answer, please. Who do you claim to have been Mr. Drebber's accomplice?
I think it's Courtney Scythe, right?
Oh.
Because, like, they were just saying the coroner's report is inconsistent with the facts.
Oh. Yeah.
Right? Isn't that what, and he's saying the inconsistency itself is the clue.
Right. Oh, yes. According to the coroner's report, it's not a possibility. Yeah, I think you're right.
So my guess, my money would be on Courtney Scythe,
I think...
especially because Courtney Stevens. Does her name having changed have any significance? Do we know a Stevens or a Scythe?
Not that I've seen in this case.
Okay.
Yeah, not...
I was
not
just
that we've
wondering
seen.
because clearly they're both about 40, right?
Yeah, so they would have been around the same age, especially if she was the
'Cause
coroner on
clearly-
the professor's case.
She was the coroner on the professor's case for sure. I guess we can just assume her name changed for some reason. Maybe she got married, or maybe she just changed it.
Right.
So they both clearly still had a hang up with the professor, who we're pretty sure is Odie Assman.
Right. He was the bohemian boy. No.
Take that!
Take that. The name of the person in question is...
What's wrong, my Nepalese friend? Surely fear doesn't bind your tongue now. It's a little late for that.
Of course I'm afraid. And after all, naming her in this capacity is definitely going to make waves. A lot of waves. I could very well turn every single person in this courtroom against me.
I'm sure it'll be all right, Mr. Narhado.
Thank you, Mrs. Zato.
I won't turn against you. The enemy always appears larger than life, but you'll appear exactly the same to the enemy.
All right then, here goes.
You've kept us waiting long enough. Your answer, counsel. Now.
Person who colluded with Mr. Drebber in order to carry out this wicked crime is Scotland Yard's coroner, Dr. Courtney Scythe.
What? What the blazes are you talking about? Dr. Scythe?
The head of the forensics investigation team and coroner who conducted the autopsy on the victim.
We know there were two bird cages, so who could have carried out the switch to complete the illusion? The accident happened in front of a huge crowd of spectators and the area was immediately sealed off.
Yeah,
Then
she
everyone,
had access
police,
to it.
Yeah, police officers included, were banished to make way for the forensic investigation team. When else could the switch have occurred? It could only have been in that team's presence.
Oh yeah, we're getting their ass now.
It's essential that the
cooking
court
now.
determines exactly what happened following the incident. The defense demands that Dr. Scythe be summoned to the witness stand at once to testify.
We're cooking now. Everyone's cooking. Wow. The magician not moving at all is crazy.
Ah,
You've got a nerve, lad. Standing up there, dragging the yard's name through the mud.
I didn't mean to.
I know the woman very well. There's no better dead room worker out there. How dare you call her a criminal?
My learned friend's imagination appears to be wilder than the East End at night.
What?
But the recklessness of your accusation aside, there's another grave problem with your argument. She died this morning. No, one which the prosecution demands you address at once.
A grave problem.
Oh my word. Who do you claim acted as the victim's doppelganger?
What?
Certainly, if the birdcage contained the body of the victim was exchanged for another, the cage must have also contained a body.
And yet, no missing persons or accidental deaths of anyone else remotely resembling the victim have been reported. Which means there was no one, dead or alive, who could have fulfilled the role of a body double for Mr. Asman.
That's true. My argument is that there were 2 bird cages, then there must also have been 1 person inside each. But I don't know if I've got an answer to this yet, have I? What can I do to reveal how this body double stunt was achieved? Name someone, present evidence, nothing. Present evidence? We present the head? And be like that this whole body was stolen? Because it was.
It's either that or nothing at the moment, and I'm not sure which.
I think
'Cause I don't think it's name at someone.
name someone is nothing. Yeah, that doesn't help anything.
Yeah,
Because it
it's-
wasn't a
it can't be
person.
that.
It wasn't a person.
We could
It was a wax body.
We have 4 lives. We could just try it.
Yeah. Very well. The defense will address my learned friend's concerns by presenting evidence that reveals the true nature of Mr. Assman's body double.
Good gracious, evidence? I do hope this isn't filibustering, counsel. The court is expecting a name.
If you think you have relevant evidence, present it now.
Body double and the birdcage were hiding inside the balloon that was floating above the stage, which means that any witnesses would only have seen them from 60 feet away. So who was it that appeared out of that explosion some 18 meters above the spectators? Aha! The body double inside the second birdcage was...
Well, then we show the head.
I assume.
Then we can
Take
back it
that.
up with the glass.
We know that the victim, Mr. Assman, was in the birdcage that was situated inside the kinesis machine on stage. And therefore, he couldn't have been inside the second birdcage. Instead, that contained something else. What's been described as a body double, which is what fell from the sky and crashed into the Crystal Tower.
Perhaps, counsel, according to your somewhat elaborate version of events.
Well,
Yeah, this is looking right.
and that body double inside the second birdcage was, in fact...
Wax. It's all right, Mr. Naruto. You're ready for this. Just steel yourself and come out with it.
Thank you, Mr. Sato. I needed that. As I was saying, the body double inside the second birdcage was, as unbelievable as it may seem, that thing there. Why did we
When
bring
did he
it?
bring this here? How did he get it here?
How did no one notice it before just now?
Did he pause in between his sentences and say, "Hey, hold on a second"? What the fuck, man? Open your eyes and look into mine, my Nipponese friend. No, you can't make me. Now tell me, what are you playing at?
Stand firm now, Ryunosuke. This is the time to show your Japanese spirits. As the court will observe, this is a waxwork model.
Oh,
A
no.
model, a model, in fact, of an infamous London murderer from 10 years ago, the Professor.
Objection!
You started by indicting the leader of the forensics investigation team as an accomplice in this crime. And now you've moved on to indicting Waxworks.
Yes, that's about the size of it.
But why? Why this Waxwork? It looks nothing like the victim. In fact, it could hardly resemble him less. What possible justification can you give?
If you want to know why, ask Mr. Drebber. Don't involve me in this.
No. What?
Just days before Professor Hairbrain performed his public demonstration, Mr. Drebber abducted this model from Madame Two-Spells.
Did you say abducted?
And 2 days after the incident at the Great Exhibition, he returned it to the museum.
Without its head. Then the timing.
Is this true, Mr. Drebber?
Maybe.
Beep, borp.
At first, I couldn't see why Mr. Drebber would have stolen the waxwork and then given it back again, but now the reason is clear. He took it so he could put it inside the second birdcage as a body double for Mr. Assman.
Objection!
Are you hearing this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Are you hearing the defense's astonishing proposal? That the witness fabricated this vast machine with the intention of deceiving some wretched scientist. That he did so in collusion with the country's finest coroner on a public stage in front of a vast audience.
Yes.
And that, to effect the deception, he used a waxwork model that in no way resembles the victim. Are we really to believe this far-fetched tale? What do you decide? Oh, we're gonna have to do
Objection.
summation soon, aren't we?
Wait. Yes, if you put it like that, of course it sounds implausible. My lord. Oh.
My lord, I need to speak, if you please. Summation, judgment, or whatever.
It's time.
Go ahead, Mr. Foreman.
Myself and my colleagues have reached an agreement.
Very good. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we will state your leanings for the court to hear now.
Well.
Guilty.
Well.
Guilty.
Well.
Guilty.
Whoa.
Guilty!
Kill me. Well, that's bad.
Yep. I was gonna say, it's about time for us to be forced into a summation, judgmation, or whatever.
Examination, I think.
Yeah, but I like saying judgmation.
Alright, we can just call it that. There's no rules. Who's gonna stop us, God?
It's like saying odd magic.
So, as indicated by the foreman, the jury has reached a consensus.
I knew that was going to happen.
We shall get through this, Mr. Naruto, as we always do. And uncover some new truths along the way, I'm quite sure.
Yes, I agree. I'm going to have to appeal to the jurors as usual and see if I can persuade them to change their minds.
The defense will now embark on a summation examination.
But we didn't even ask him. He just assumed we were going to do it.
He just knows. We've done it a million times. No one uses this fucking obscure law except us, exactly.
Are you and your fellows ready to proceed, Mr. Foreman?
We are, my lord.
Very well. In that case, I ask you now to state clearly for all present to hear the grounds on which each of you has decided that the defendant is guilty of the crime of which he is charged.
And it won't be entirely about gas this time, probably.
I hope not.
Judicial findings. The jurors' contentions.
I've known that woman for years. She'd never been accomplice to anything.
Okay.
Sorry, I was looking at the newspaper.
I'm also looking at the newspaper.
London, Britain, Industrial Revolution.
Industrialization, a retrospective.
What?
By
Excuse me?
H-Bomber guy.
It's utter nonsense to think that there would be conniving with two would ever be conniving with each other.
Oh dear, this is most troubling. But surely the waxwork the man stole has nothing to do with the coroner, is it?
I have my own problems with members of the police. I do not trust them much.
Thanks, man.
I've seen no rigorous proof that this waxwork was ever inside the birdcage. It's conjecture.
We can show
Well, if
the
you let me
glass to
pull
that
out the
guy.
piece of glass.
Accusing someone without raw evidences is not a proper job, is he? I won't have it.
Okay, corn child.
Somewhat unsurprisingly, it seems the introduction of this waxwork model to the proceedings has polarized opinion.
Given that its face is obscured and its build in no way resembles that of the victim, I can only applaud my learned friend's temerity at suggesting it as Mr. Asmon's body double.
Yes, the applause is deafening. And yes, I know it seems extraordinary. But that's the point. That's why I have a strong feeling it's actually a greater clue than anyone yet realizes.
What are you thinking, Mr. Nahadel?
Can't explain why at the moment, but I feel as though there's a specific reason why it was used, why it had to be this model.
Really? Reason why nothing else would do, you mean?
Yes, and I'm convinced it's something far more significant than whether or not the model looked like the victim.
Well, if that's the case, we must prevent the trial from ending prematurely at all costs.
Yes, agreed. What if it's something like he used
What do they want
this
time to try to
so that-
open the mask or
so-
something?
yeah, so that over the course of this trial, like, they would have to open up the mask. I have to find a way out of this.
I would think it would be more during the autopsy time, right?
Right.
I don't know why they would go through all this necessarily, though.
Yeah.
There's still a thread here we haven't connected.
You are ready, counsel. You may proceed with the summation examination.
Yes, my lord. I want to know what's in that mask so bad.
It is
He's just back
your
there.
very own face.
My god. The defense's rebuttal. I'm not gonna bother with that. You know, actually, let's just start pressing.
Can't we press on these? Yeah.
Yeah. Press. Hold it! The order of things seems to have changed around here for some reason.
I'm a copper, lad. It's a copper's discretion to bend the rules sometimes when needs must. What's wrong with that?
Where do I start?
I've been working at the yard for 40-odd years.
That's even more than I thought.
I'm 59. We've only had a metropolitan police service in town for 70 years, you know. Of course, times have changed. The public didn't trust coppers back when I started. It was rough. We had to fight crime, we had to fight to win the public's trust as well. And when we did, we had to win over their trust by bending the rules when we decided that we don't have to pay attention to them. Forensic science was genius. Forensic science was in its infancy too, even more than it is now. And she spearheaded the revolution.
Dr. Scythe, you mean?
That's right. About 10 years ago now it was.
10 years ago.
10 years ago.
When I was still a youngish Bobby on the beat.
No, you would have been working 30 years already, sir.
That's when she started making a name for herself as a top-class coroner. And now look at her, head of the forensics investigation team. And a woman, no less. Well, you won't hear me complain. It's what we all dreamt of back then, I tell you.
Could you tell me without holding that gun in the air?
We're all out to uphold justice, lad. Full of vim we were, full of vim.
That's coming across loud and clear.
Oh no, I'm feeling the vim, dude.
Wrong button. Press. Hold it. But we're only just starting to understand this case. What are you reading there, sir?
The man behind those murders on Solar Pond Street was caught in 2 days flat. That's real policing for you.
That's really not relevant to this case, is it?
You're wrong there. Because it was Dr. Scythe in charge of examining the bodies. And it was evidence arising from her work that led to the arrest of the scoundrel responsible.
Oh.
That's right, Al. That woman is at the forefront of this country's fight against crime. The idea that she's somehow involved in this murky business is a load of old tosh.
I thought it was up to me to press the jurors, not the other way around. Hold it! Why would you assume that? It's me.
That's
Well,
you.
quite simply because the unsettling swindler has no relationship with the woman, does he? True, as it stands, we don't know of any connection. Oh gosh, but it would be delightfully romantic if they were somehow to have a mutual interest in the waxwork. Romantic? A woman of society such as myself views everything in terms of relationships, you know. Well, you learn something new every day, even if you don't want to. One might wonder about a possible relationship between the defendant and this coroner woman.
Yeah, how old's the coroner's daughter?
Or perhaps the defendant and the handsome prosecutor just there. This woman may be more astute than I've been giving her credit for.
Did she just ask if Hairbrain and Zeeks were gay?
I think so.
This woman is too powerful. We must stop her at all costs. If that's the woman's stance, then perhaps demonstrating some connection between the waxwork and Dr. Scythe would be enough.
Yes, I agree. As soon as we have even a whiff of a connection, she'll be the first to know. Alright, I'm curious. What sort of problems? Let's just say we have run into each other on numerous occasions while I've been performing on the street. Right, I see. Obviously, artists such as myself cannot appear on stage as we work in close proximity to our audiences. So we perform our great magic in parks, on street corners, and the like. But the police use any excuse to make our lives difficult.
Holy shit, dude! Don't do that!
Excuse me. You have something to say in response to that, Mr. Ottermole?
Who are you calling a mass murderer?
Sorry, my mistake. I got confused because I heard you look like him.
I don't look anything like the man. You want to be locked up, sonny?
Thanks, Mr. Sholmes. Perhaps we could move on. I was really wondering if you had something you wanted to add in response to what juror number 3 just said. And clearly you do.
Back in my day, back in the good old days, we shot magicians dead. It wasn't like this.
What was it like, sir?
We worked our fingers to the bone to earn the public's trust. We did. And by Jove, we earned it. People respected us back then.
Respected you? Ha!
No one would have called a coroner into question in them days. A coroner's report was the hallmark of an investigation done right. Especially when Dr. Courtney
Aha!
Stevens put her name to it.
Aha!
Aha! We confirmed.
Hold it!
She was the best of the best.
Hold on a minute. What are you talking about? Who's Courtney Stevens?
Ah, sorry. Got a bit carried away there.
Stevens is Dr. Scythe's maiden name. Yeah,
Her maiden name, so that was before she was married.
yeah.
Of course, yes. Silly me. It's Scythe now, isn't it?
Stevens. I'm sure I've seen that name somewhere recently. You have.
We have.
Anyway, the point is, those were the great days of policing. Not like now.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. But do you think you could change your statement to include that name?
Well, yes, I don't see why not.
I need it so I can contradict you.
It was Courtney Stevens back when I knew her, of course. A legendary coroner, even.
Oh, we can't present things in this. I forgot that
Can we
we
not?
can't do that, no.
Ah, it's only pitting them against each other.
Right.
Well, we'll still have the information when we get there.
Alright.
So are we on to the alchemist man?
Hold it. But you claimed the whole instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a trick.
That I did, but there's more than one way to pull a rabbit out of a hat, isn't there?
Sorry?
I grant you, given that this cage appeared from amidst the explosion, there'd have been no need to use a real person. But if a waxwork had been used, the culprit would have at least had the decency to make it look like the victim.
I'm not sure exactly how much criminals are governed by decency.
The point is, I'm going to make a claim about that waxwork inside the birdcage. You need to give us some evidence. Without that, it's just not science.
I suppose we should expect nothing less than a logical argument from a fellow of the Royal Society. But that perhaps means his mind can be changed if we manage to present suitable evidence.
Evidence that the Professor Waxwork was inside that birdcage. Can I produce that or not? Yes.
Yes, the piece of glass. We have evidence. Glass.
Actually, I have something I'd like you to see, sir.
Oh! I must warn you that I firmly believe it's only wise to trust men in white coats. So given your jet black outfit, I don't mind it being to a sense of trepidation here.
But you don't trust anyone in black? Looking in the mirror must be very trying.
Ha!
I do have some evidence that proves the Waxworks was inside that birdcage. Namely...
What's this? A piece of glass? Oh, it's unusually thick for glass.
Yes, it's a piece of broken glass that we found inside the jacket on the Waxwork. As you say, it's not ordinary glass, though. It's very thick and clearly made for extra strength. Much like the special glass that was developed for the construction of the Crystal Tower.
The Crystal Tower? Holy smoke!
Exactly. The centerpiece of the Great Exhibition, where the very incident we're talking about took place. On the day in question, the birdcage fell from above and smashed through a window of that special glass.
From whence this small piece originated. Is that it?
Precisely. So, what do you say? Now that clear evidence in support of the assertion has been placed in front for there. Huh?
Infamous.
Respond to that.
What? Excuse me? Well, as I said, I only trust men in white coats as a rule. However, when the reasoning is sound, it's fair to say colors shouldn't come into it. In light of what you've shown us here, then yes, I feel obliged to change my position on the matter. In that case, number 4, you amend your statement now, please. The presence of that piece of glass leaves me in little doubt that the waxwork was indeed inside that birdcage.
What evidences? Well, there was right evidences. Maybe? I don't know.
Well, we should press the corn child first, because we haven't done that yet.
True.
Hold it!
I've gotta ask, why have you brought that corn into the court with you?
Colonel
I'm
Cole,
hungry.
he's been grown back on a farm. Picked him off on my way into town. He's a proper nibbler, he is.
Yes, the nibbling seems to be taking quite a while. Maybe you could wait until after the trial?
Oh, I don't like the sound of that. You need colonels at times like these. Whenever I have something big to decide, the colonels always point me in the right direction, see?
You're talking about your cob of corn?
Nibble, nobble, guilty bobble. Nibble, not guilty out. Nibble, nobble, guilty...
What the fuck are you talking about?
It's like
He's
he
still
loves
going.
me, loves me not thing.
Oh, I see.
How many cobs do you think they have to... Perhaps it's akin to fortune telling with flower petals like people do back home?
So Professor Hairbrain's fate is to be decided by a cob of corn.
As we all are in the end.
Could you not at least wait until we've had more time to find the truth before deciding on the defendant's guilt?
Ooh, I don't know about that. Me tum's awfully full already.
Amazing.
Ha!
I know it seems a little far-fetched to think that the waxwork model of the professor was in that birdcage, but on the other hand, it explains a lot.
If there really is a reason why that particular waxwork had to be used as Mr. Aspen's double, we must do everything we can to make the jurors understand it.
Truth is, I'm sure that's the key to this, but it's the most puzzling part of it, too.
In that case, you should see what additional information you can glean while trying to change the jurors' minds. You can read a book whilst eating a rice cracker, Mr. Naruto. I'm sure you can do this.
Right. Yes.
That worked?
Apparently.
Right, so we clearly got to pit some people.
Yeah.
So where they're standing? Oh, no, not
we
that.
could pit her with the other
Wax
guy since we have
worker?
the name.
Yes, I think her and the policeman. Because the waxwork did have something to do with the coroner.
Yeah.
at
Those two statements
this
clearly
point.
contradict each other.
Good gracious. Whose statements do you refer, counsel?
So, juror number 2.
Oh gosh, me? What can I do for you?
I presume that you heard what juror number 6 said in his statement. It's brought to light that the maiden name of the coroner, Dr. Scythe, which in turn has revealed a connection that wasn't apparent before.
Well, naturally, as a woman of society, I find such connections and relationships irresistible. But oh golly, I'm afraid I failed to see what you mean.
Dr. Scythe's maiden name is Stevens, and through that name, the coroner is very definitely linked to the waxwork of the killer. The defense has evidence to prove it.
My goodness, evidence, you say? How utterly enthralling.
Counsel, the court cannot overlook that last remark. I very much hope there is substance to your claim.
Of course, my lord. I would ask the court to look at this. The evidence that clearly links Dr. Scythe to the mass murderer known as the Professor.
The packet.
This piece of paper that says so. I have here a certain autopsy report from 10 years ago.
A 10-year-old autopsy report? What relevance does that have?
It is, of course, from the autopsy of the person portrayed in the waxwork, the killer known as the Professor.
Professors? But the man was a capital offender, so...
That's right. This is the certification of death that was drawn up after the convict's execution. The identity of the killer was never made public, so the report gives few details. But what's important is the name of the coroner who wrote it. Courtney Stevens.
Oh my, Courtney Stevens?
Sprinkle that!
It appears that the professor's autopsy was conducted by Dr. Scythe 10 years ago. And a few days ago, Mr. Drebber very deliberately stole the waxwork of the professor from Madame Two-Spells. A waxwork that doesn't, in fact, resemble the victim, Mr. Assman, at all.
And do you suppose there's some unsavory relationship between those events?
Absolutely, I'm sure of it. There's no doubt in my mind that the professor case is at the heart of a link we have yet to uncover. Between Dr. Courtney Scythe and Mr. Enoch Drebber.
Hidden links, mysterious connections, secret relationships.
Oh yeah, we got her now.
This is all most extraordinary. We're
She's
surely
changing
obliged
this
now
shit.
to explore this further. The tea has gotten hot.
This tea is piping, good sir.
Quite right. We can't let this trial come to an end now. Not while there's this cloud of suspicion hanging over the yard's best coroner. It wasn't like this in my day, but we're still here to uphold justice in the end.
Alright, we got 2 of them.
Nice.
I don't know if we're gonna do better than that.
I like how her text turned a darker green.
Right,
So do we pit the child and the alchemist?
I guess so.
We should read through them all again quick. I know you just flipped through them, but I was not.
It's utter
Utter
nonsense to think
nonsense.
those two. Well, we already know that. Now. You're irrelevant. The presence of glass leaves me little doubt
I
the
think
waxworks indeed
must
inside
be
the
those two.
And accusing someone without right evidences, but we do have evidences.
Yeah, I think we just try those two, right?
I think so. We've got evidences. Don't we? Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
Good gracious. To whose statements do you refer, counsel?
If you could put down your corn for a moment, juror number 5.
Oh.
Oh, you mean me?
No, the other juror number 5. You pointed out that it's wrong to make an accusation without evidence. The accusation that the waxwork model was inside the second birdcage on the day in question is not without supporting evidence, as the defense demonstrated to the juror sitting beside you.
Oh, is that right?
Ugh. It snuck out of me, sorry. Would it be fair to say you didn't follow the argument?
I don't understand much besides Colonel Cope, to be honest.
Of course you don't.
I could interject here.
Please do, sir.
Now that this assertion of yours about the waxwork has been backed up by some solid evidence, it'd be wrong of me, as a man of science, not to pursue the matter further.
Nice.
Alright, we got half.
We only need half, right?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. We have 4.
Oh, well, me too, then.
Sorry?
If this brainy gentleman says he's right, then he must be. See, I wouldn't dream of going against Colonel Cobb or anyone who's got stuff in between the ears.
Thanks.
Thanks. Thanks, weird little corn child.
Success! If you can call it that.
Thank you, Counsel. That'll do. As a result of the sensation that's changed. 2 jurors now called guilty against 4 who called not guilty. Accordingly, the court has failed to reach consensus at this time. And the trial must continue.
We did it.
Oh, well done, Mr. Narhado. Another wonderful victory.
He always seems so surprised.
Every time, dude.
Waxwork of the despicable professor. Used as a body double for the victim in this quite extraordinary case. I must say, it's extremely hard to believe the assertion could possibly be true. However, it would appear that it does at least warrant further investigation.
It's the waxwork of the professor that links Mr. Drebber and Dr. Scythe. And I'm convinced that there's a special significance to that link.
I don't know what you're hoping to prove, lad. I really don't.
Neither do we. The truth, sir, by using evidence and testimony.
Smartass!
I'm a cop. I'm a cop, young lady.
If the court is to delve deeper into the alleged involvement of the waxwork in this case, then the prosecution calls for the owner of the model to be summoned as a witness. Oh, hon la baguette.
Here she comes.
The owner?
Madame Touspen.
Yeah. I really thought that Lord Van Zeeks would object to this whole line of inquiry.
It's the lyrics of she's a man-eater, but it's instead she's a wax worker.
Whoa, here she comes. Watch out,
Very
boy,
wet-
she'll
wait.
melt you up. I don't
Oh no!
Very well, I concur. Make arrangements for Madame Toothpells to appear as a witness with immediate effect.
Listen carefully, my learned friend.
Oh, yes?
You should know that you're on the brink of opening Pandora's box.
Okay.
The court shall now adjourn for 45 minutes.
Jesus.
During that time, the prosecution will summon the new witness and prepare her for taking the stand.
Madame Two Spells, yes. I shall see to it at once, my lord.
Okay, I was gonna say that's a to be
Ooh,
continued.
a perfect. I was gonna say this has got to be a perfect time to cut off the stream. We've been hitting a lot of to be continued at the end of streams lately. It's like we're planning it.
It's like we're doing it. It's
We're
like
not.
We're doing it good.
We're doing it good.
Doing it good. All right, everybody. That'll do it for tonight. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow is Catherine. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Hey.